Welcome back, Nerd Squad. My name is Rory Destroya, and this is Top 10 Nerd. Thanks to our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we've gotten the chance to be introduced to some pretty interesting and notable villains. However, when they're not taking on Peter Parker, these guys have some side foes they like to play with behind Peter's back. So let's take a look at the top 10 Spider-Man villains who have fought other heroes. Number 10 spot, we have Kraven the Hunter. Kraven has been a long time and frequent enemy of Spidey, appearing not just in comics but TV shows and video games as well. However, when he's not fighting Spider-Man, he can be caught luring Scarlet Spider into fighting, doing battle with Squirrel Girl over terrorizing squirrels, and attempting to abduct Howard the Duck. He's also faced off against Daredevil and even threw him off a cliff at one point. And speaking of Kraven brings us to our next person. Coming in at number 9 is Calypso. In the wake of her lover Kraven's death, Calypso held a grudge against Spider-Man and made it her goal to obliterate him. But he wasn't the only hero that was the object of her violence. Another prominent character she fought against was Daredevil, who she even once possessed and turned into a living zombie in Daredevil number 311. And while she's fighting Daredevil, she may as well pick battles with his doppelganger Hellspawn. Next at number 8 we got Mysterio. There have been several Mysterios in the world of Marvel, and all of them have had their fair share of battle with Spidey. At one point, the Quentin Beck Mysterio was diagnosed with terminal cancer and wanted to finish his plight with Spidey before his death. Spider-Man was a bit busy dealing with a clone, so Mysterio had to settle his sights on Daredevil instead as his last hurrah. Didn't work out the way he planned it to, though. In the number 7 spot is Kingpin. Kingpin may not have any superpowers, but he has still managed to come out as one of Spider-Man's toughest and more memorable foes. But once again, a Spider-Man villain finds himself going head-to-head with Daredevil, this time more recently becoming one of Daredevil's greatest enemies after his time with Spidey. But Kingpin has also faced off against the Punisher, such as in Punisher Max, as well as the X-Men in X-Men Volume 2. Coming in at number 6 we have Hobgoblin. There have been several versions of Hobgoblin out there depicted as Spider-Man villains, and while the Phil Urich Hobgoblin certainly had his squabbles with Spidey, he also had a very notable rivalry with Hercules, when Hercules defeats a gang led by Hobgoblin's boss, Kingpin. This does not go well for Urich, and he is beaten by Hercules, everything embarrassingly captured on hidden cameras that the Hobgoblin had planted himself. Next up in number 5 is Vermin. Vermin is frequently tangled up with Spider-Man, oftentimes as a pawn in someone else's plans, such as Kraven's. He is actually one of the few foes that Spider-Man has not been able to defeat on his own, requiring the assistance of Vermin's other large adversary, Captain America. He's faced off against Cap several times under the servitude of Baron Zemo, which goes a lot worse than his fighting with Spider-Man. Up next at number 4 is Sandman. Although he switches back and forth between good and evil, Sandman originally was one of the more popular Spider-Man villains. Once he was formally defeated by Spidey, he moved on to the Fantastic Four as a team member of the Frightful Four. A clear fan of variety, however, he also has previously challenged the Hulk while teamed up with the Mandarin, and he even picked a fight with Wonder Man, as well as certain members of the X-Men in other incarnations. In the number 3 spot we have Dr. Octopus. Doc Ock was made famous because of his great rivalry with Spider-Man, but he's actually faced off against a lot of other heroes as well. Some of these include the Hulk, Daredevil, Captain America, the Wasp, and Iron Man, just to name a few. There's even one point where he is captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. and has his arms melted before his eyes by Nick Fury. His fights aren't limited to Marvel either, as he's faced off against DC's Superman, and accidentally seemed to call Spider-Man Superman at one point. Coming in at number 2 is Green Goblin. Once credited as the most terrifying of all the Spider-Man villains, Norman Osborn has made a name for himself as the Green Goblin, and when he's not terrorizing Spider-Man, Osborn has taken on other heroes in different versions. In Age of Apocalypse, he faced off against Hawkeye. As a zombie, he picks a fight with Wolverine, and he's meddled around with the teams of both the Avengers and the X-Men, even creating his own dark versions of both teams. And finally, in the number 1 spot, we've got Venom. Venom is arguably one of the most loved Spider-Man villains, and the two seem to go hand in hand. It's easy to overlook fights that Venom has with other heroes, but yet, there they are. Other than the fact that Venom and Eddie Brock are constantly fighting, the symbiote has tackled the likes of a team designed to kill him called the Jury, as well as the Hulk and Iron Man. He also tormented Wolverine before joining forces with him, something he seems to do quite frequently with his enemies. So those were the top 10 Spider-Man villains who fought other heroes. Let me know in the comments section down below which of these villains is your favorite. My name is Rory Destroya, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another nerdy list.